Hi guys, welcome to another video, and in this video I'll be showing you guys how to draft your basic gown pattern. And these are the measurements I'll be using for this pattern. The full length 38, shoulder 14.5, which is 14 and a half, anyone, bust point 35, under bust 26, high waist 27, waistline 31. So like I said, make sure to do your calculations before you start imputing your measurement. So we'll be using this measurement here that has been calculated, which was the ones I stated out here below. So let's move on to the look at the pattern. I had already drafted it, so I'll be explaining it very well to you guys. So starting from the neckline, this is what the neckline looks like. So I'll just be taking you guys through the vertical measurement. So like I said, from your neckline or your shoulder line to your neckline or your shoulder line to your bust point is 8. Then from your bust point to your under bust is 13. From your under bust to your high waist is 16. Then from your high waist to your waistline is 20. To your hip line is 25. Then we have our full length, which is 38. Then we added 1 inch extra. We added 1 inch extra for folding. So that's it for this side. So moving on to the neckline or the shoulder, like I said. So the measurement here for the shoulder is 14.5 or 14 and a half, anyone. I divided it by 2 to give me 7.25. Like we all know, approximate your measurement. So I imputed 7.3 here, which is my shoulder point. So this enables you to get an accurate measurement on where you start your sleeve, on where your sleeve is supposed to be in the cloth that you're about to sew. So this is where it stops from your shoulder you took your measurement for. So 7.3 here. Then for the neck width, I took 3 inches. For the neck depth, I took 3 inches as well. So this is just like a standard measurement for adults. So if you want it to be wider than this, you can add extra inches to it. If you want it to be lesser than this, you can also subtract an inch from it. So this is our shoulder slope. Like I said, I subtracted half an inch from it. It's supposed to be 1 inch, but now I subtracted half an inch because I'll use half inch to close it in here, right here. So make sure that it's just half an inch you take. So moving on to the bust point, I imputed the same shoulder measurement I took for here, which is 7.3. I imputed it here at the bust point so that I can be able to achieve a straight line, so that I can give my armhole a really nice curve. So I came out by 1 inch, okay, quarter inch, yeah, quarter inch. This is it. So I gave it a very good nice curve. So the bust point, now I took bust point measurement is 8.75, which is 8.8, that is it. Then I add extra inches for allowance, which is 1.5. We have been using 1.5 as our allowance in these videos that I've been sending to you guys, because it's a fitted gown, so it's not a too free gown. If it's for too free, all these gowns that are extremely free that have too many allowance, you can use 2 to 3 inches. So for this gown, it's a fitted one, so I made sure that after imputing the measurement, I added just a little bit of 1.5 inches. So moving on to the under bust measurement, we have 6.5. I imputed the measurement, and I also put the allowance for the sewing allowance. Then same as the high waist, the waistline, I did the same thing for the waistline. I did the same thing for the hip line, imputed the hip measurement, which is 9, and then I added 1.5 inches extra. So for the now moving on to the so for this last part of the dress, which is the knee length, what I did was that I inserted the waist measurement, the complete measurement, which is 9.8. I inserted it here, 9.8. Yeah, that's it. That's what we have here. So just to give it a little bit of curve from the hip line down to the knee length. See this fine curve? That is what happened here. So that's it for the front pattern of the gown. So I'll be moving on to the cutting. Make sure to give all these allowances that you heard in this video, so that, and make sure to check my other videos to enable you understand the things that I have explained here, because if you have watched my previous video, you will know that some places I have skipped here in this video. it is something I've explained in the previous video. So that's it. So after cutting it, this is what it looks like. So I'll be opening it up so that you guys can see it very well. This is it. This is it. This is what your complete straight gown looks like without that. This is a dartless straight gown, so it looks very clean and neat. So this is my back pattern. We'll be moving over to the back pattern. So I folded my back pattern into two, and before doing that, I have my front pattern which I placed on it to get an exact measurement. So like I would always say, make sure to give 2 inches allowance. So make sure that it is 2 inches that you left here, so that you can take your 1.5 inch for those that are watching this video for the first time. So this is it. From the neckline, I took 1.5 inches. I did the same thing for the bust, 1.5 inches. I did the same thing for the under bust. I did the same thing for the high waist, the waistline. Then coming to the hip line, I made it 2 inches. So it was because of this hip line I made the whole allowance. I took 2 inches because the hip line should be different from what you're taking from the neckline down to the hip line, because the hip line now, for those that have bigger butts, I explained that in the skirt video. Go back and watch the skirt video before watching this so that you understand. So for those that have bigger butts, bigger butts, this allowances I added here, which is 2 inches. This enables your hip measurement and your butt to be able to be packaged. It is for better fitting. I don't know, like English had, it's for better fitting. So moving forward, we are going to the flap. This is the flap, as we all know. Flap is what I explained also in the skirt video, but let me just be explaining it for you guys in this video. Now the flap enables great professionalism in your sewing. So for those that don't want to open all these open gown, like the slit is just open like that, you want the slit to be covering each other to lap very well, you can use this flap. It is very important. So for the flap, I took 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch for the flap, so that I can be able to come in a little bit and slant it from this hip line like so. So this is what it looks like. So I just took the same allowance, the same extra inches I added for the knee length for folding here as well. So let's move to the neckline. I didn't explain something. Now moving over to the neckline, I didn't want to make the back neckline be the same with the front, because for most gowns, make sure that the back neckline is higher than the front neckline, so that you can be able to, it won't look very wide and open. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to trace it a little bit to this point that I've already taken. So this is the 1.5 inches. So this is it. I trace it down to the zip allowance. So make sure that the back pattern is higher than the front pattern, the neckline. So I'm moving over to cutting it. Make sure that you cut it very well while your front pattern is placed on the back pattern. Guys, I've been able to cut out the back pattern as well. So this is what it looks like. It looks very nice. So let me take off the front pattern so that you can see it very well. So in this video, I made use of I folded it into the back pattern. So let me explain it to you guys. For the other videos, I've not been using 2 for the back. So this is what it looks like when you're sewing it with the allowance. These are the allowances, and this is what it will be looking like, the back pattern. Moving over to the flap, this is how the flap will look like. So if you want yours to be more open than this, you can extend it up a little bit. You can add more extra inches to it. So when you're sewing, you're joining them into 2 like this, then you just go down by 1/2 inch like this. From your allowance, you just sew it like this. So that's it for this video. So make sure that you practice all that has been taught here, so that you'll be able to master it very well. And make sure to watch all the previous videos so that you can understand what you are saying in this video as well.